Now, in today's class, I am going to explain classes and objects in C++ programming languages. As I told you that these are all very free classes, and uh, thrice of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the classes will be conducted at 8 p.m. on behalf of my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation, Ongole, India, AP, Prakasham districts. Okay, so I want to reach to rural students whomever residing in rural areas, especially they are totally aware of network facilities. So that's why I want to extend these classes to rural world. I want to reach to rural world. Okay, so anybody can attend my classes. All are free classes. If anybody wants to develop their programming skills and they want to become the front end, otherwise back end developers, and classes will be continued up to my last breath of life. Okay, so as I told you that I have spent 30 years service in the Indian Army as a technical engineer, and after my retirement I am keeping my sincere efforts to give the service to enhance the programming skills throughout the youth in world. Okay, especially I want to reach to rural world. Okay, now in C++, as I told you that it is an object oriented programming language. So within that, classes and objects, and I told you that what is the relation between class and object in the previous class. As I told you that it is the blueprint to create the objects. Okay, now let us see what happened here. So in the classes and objects, so every class has some attributes. Okay, attributes and methods. So in the real life, see, suppose a car is there, Toyota car. The car is an object that is that Toyota car is an instance of a car class. So that car has whatever the attributes, such as its weight and color. I told you that weight and color, and some methods that a car can be driven, and then that can be brake can be applied. So the drive and brake, these are the methods, and the functions means I told you that already. Functions are somewhat actions in programming language. Oops, and it means object oriented programming, they are called methods. Okay, so and the attributes, whatever the characteristics are parameters, they are called attributes, are weight and color, they are the attributes. Okay, don't confuse yourself, huh? So as I told you that a class is like an object constructor. What means the class is a blueprint, so that will be used to construct the objects. Okay, so class, we can simply say it is a blueprint to create the objects. So now let us do some little bit program to create a class. To create a class, like in other programming language, Python, Java. Okay, class keyword, that is very important. Create a class name car with a variable color. See, so we need to create a class name car with a variable. So that is what class variable means, class attribute. Okay, class attribute, class variable, characteristic, parameter, all are same. So now color is the variable, class variable. So class keyword, then car name, car, inside a flower braces. That color is what, it is a string. So color, generally red color, so many different colors are there. So they need to be represented in string. So string data type we need to use, then after variable color, and that variable color will be assigned with a color red. So red is a string, so that is to be kept in double quotation marks, and then statement to be terminated with the semicolon. This is the syntax to create a class. Okay. So when a variable here, what is variable? Color is a variable, is declared directly in a class. So it is often referred to as a field or attribute. So whenever any variable declared inside of a class, so that can be referred as a field, otherwise attribute, it is a variable. Okay, class variable. Because class variable, why? Because it is declared inside of a class, it is part of a class. Generally whenever declaring of classes, so the first letter, that must be uppercase letter when naming of classes. That is a good practice to start with an uppercase first letter. Okay. Okay, now see, in Java what happens, it is very common that the name of the C sharp file and the class matches. In C sharp programming language, C sharp file and the class, that must be matched. Okay. So here it is not required like in Java. In Java also the class name and the file name must be matched. In C sharp also, C sharp, the file name and the class name must be matched. But here no need. Okay, but the class name must be started with the first letter. It is a good practice to start with an uppercase first letter, but it is not required. It depend upon your wish. Okay, so let us write a little bit of programs. Then after, how to create an object in C++. An object is created from a class. So object created for a class. So class already we have created, that is name, class, keyword, then car name. Now this can be used to create the objects, means that class can be used to create the objects. To create an object of a car, specify the class name followed by the object name and use the keyword new here. But in first of all, to create an object of car, we need to specify the class name. But in other programming language, in Python, first of all, to create an object, first of all we will create the object, and then, okay, see, like what generally, suppose in Python, this is the IDE. This is the IDE of mobile IDE to create the object, to write the code in Python. This is the IDE for Python. Okay, so now here, suppose class name, then name of a class car, then after column. Now class created. Now within this class, if you want to create a class variable, that is class attribute color. Okay, now color, simply you write color here and is equal to, next color is a text, so it is to be kept in single quotation or double quotation marks, color red. Okay, now no need of any semicolons, termination of, like in other language we will terminate with semicolon. In Python no need. So this is what one class created with the class attribute, mean class variable. Now if I want to create an object for this, I need to create first object name, any name, your name, my name, Vasu XYZ. Simply have kept Vasu, that is out of the class. Okay, you need to come out of the class. Obj is the object name, first object name, and then is equal class name. What is the class name? CAR in bracket. This is the structure in Python. First of all, we need to write the object name first, then class name. But here in C++, to create an object of car, specify of the class name first. Okay, class name. followed by the object name and use the keyword. Okay, not first the object name. First we need to use the class name, then followed by object name and use the new keyword. So now let us see the code. Create an object called my object and use it to print the value of color. Okay, now let us see. Here try to understand. This is the code. So here what happened? First of all, in C++, we need to write the how. First of all, we need to write what? Using system. Using system. So this is the syntax for to create a class in C++. So let us see the syntax. We will analyze line by line of statement. Okay, using system, that is very important. Using system means what, suppose if we want to use the classes, so using system, this statement compulsory. The classes are related to system namespace my application. This is one more statement that is very important to before writing of C++ code. So these two statements, if you want to understand actually what are they, so you need to come to the we need to come to the, that is what your syntax of C syntax. Okay, C plus C. Okay, this is sorry C sharp. Okay, so that moment actually we were discussing of to write the class in C sharp. Okay, C sharp mostly used to develop the Windows applications, but our point is what? C++. How to write the how to create the class and objects in C++. Before that, I have shown the syntax of C sharp syntax, how to write the code to create the objects and classes. Okay, that moment what I told you, that at the time of creating a class and object, so this is the syntax. Okay, that moment using system namespace. For every programming language, to create the class and object, somewhat syntax is there. This is the C sharp syntax. Okay, but class, generally class keyword will be used to create the object. Same in Python also, in Java also, and in C++. In C sharp also class keyword will be used. That's why I want to show here. Okay, so this is the syntax. Here also color is an attribute, that is class attribute, and declared as string. So before that, using system namespace, these are compulsory. So now we are not studying about C sharp, we are studying about what? C++ one. Now come to actual C++, how to create the class and objects. That is very important. We were discussing about that. So here, as I told you, that this is the syntax for to create a class. Simply to create a class, class keyword must be used, then after class name. This is okay. Now here try to understand, one class is created and then one access specifier, that is called public access specifier used here. It indicates what, whatever the class attributes, means class variables, otherwise methods used in this class, they can be accessed by outside of the class. That's why it is public. Means this public access is specifier indicates that the part of class, what are the part of class attributes, means class variables and methods. If any methods are being used, they can be used outside of the class also. That's why it is public. Okay, and then my num is a variable, it is integer data type. It is, as I told you, that means variable, otherwise attribute. Okay, int variable. Okay, string is one more attribute, otherwise it is a string variable declared inside of your class. Okay, now this is the syntax. Okay, now try to understand actually in C++ what happened. Class keyword is used to create a class name. Class name is my class. Class name as your wish, anything. Okay, any, okay, the public keyword, as I told, it is an access specifier which specifies that members, attributes and methods. What are the class members? Attributes and class variables, otherwise methods are functions, okay, of the class. They can be accessed from outside of the class, okay. Inside the class there is an integer variable minum and a string variable, two variables created inside of class. That is what, one integer variable, one string variable, okay, two variables inside of a class. If any variables are declared within a class, they are called attributes. Generally what happens, don't confuse yourself. Attributes and variables, these are all same. Somewhere they are called fields, somewhere they are called parameters, and don't confuse yours. So after that, a class definition, class definition must be terminated with a semicolon. This is the class definition. Finally class is terminated with the semicolon, end of flower braces. Though this is the syntax we need to write, okay. To create an object in C++, a object will be created from a class, okay. So already we have studied how to create a class with the class name, class keyword, and class name, okay. So to create an object of my class, okay, specifies the class name followed by the object name. That is here, that's why I told you that in C sharp, in C++, first the class name will be declared, then object name, in C sharp and C++. But in Python, Java, first we will create the object first, okay. We will create the object first, okay. So Java syntax somewhat different, okay. Whenever I will conduct the classes for Java, I will explain. But here in C++, C sharp, first class name will be written, then after object name. So to access the class attributes and class attributes, dot symbol will be used, okay. Class attributes were any class variables created, like one minum. That is what, one minum is what, one integer data type variable created. My string, one string type data type, string type, okay, variable created. So now let us see the code first. We will explore the code, the total code he written here. Okay, first, so now this is the total code. So how to understand this total code? First of all, in C++, libraries, some library, starting libraries, that is what, to work with input and output functions. Here IOStream, okay, IOStream is a library that will be used to work with input and output functions. Here input function, output function called as cout, input function is scene, and one more library that is called to work with string. So if you want to work with string, that library to be included. Using namespace, so using namespace, that I told you that namespace standard library that is to be used to work with classes, okay. So first class, the class started with my class. My class is the name of the class, and keyword class. So my class is a class name. You can keep my class, your name, my name, xyz, whatever, any name you can keep for the class name. So but class keyword compulsory. And then, so now class keyword started means my class, a class started with my class, okay. So next, public is access modifier, as I told you that. To it indicates that all the elements of that class, all the elements means members of that class, class attributes means variables and functions, here methods, so they can be accessed outside of the class. That's why public. So my num, my string, both are two variables. My num is an int variable, my string is a string variable. So see, now then I will change all the names one by one, don't worry. So inside of the main function they have written outside of the main function. Now inside of the main function, if I want to call them, okay, one object to be created, I told you object always that is to be created inside of the main function. So syntax is what? First class name, then object name, like in C# also. Okay, but in Python first we will create the object, then as I told you that in Python here, so see in fourth line obj is what? Object name is equal for what? Car class. Okay, in Python. In C# and in C++, first class will be, class name will be then followed by object name. So now object created here. So now if you want to access attributes and attributes, attributes, if you want to access them, we need to set the value. So object created, that is what? My obj is the object name. I told you the dot operator will be used to access the attributes. My object, my obj is the object, dot operator will be used to access the attributes. So my num is what? It is a variable, integer variable created. So now for that 15 value assigned. So for the string, my string is a string variable, and that can be accessed with the dot operator. My object dot. Okay, now that string value assigned to this variable, that is some text kept in double quotation marks. Okay, now if you want to get print of values, I told you that cout is a function which will be used to get print out, to see the display on the screen, and cin is used to take the input from the user. These two functions, cout and cin, part of your this library, IOStream, input output stream library. Understood that if you want to work with string, we need to include this string library. Okay, library, and I told you that library, like one library may have so many functions. Okay, predefined code, pre-written code, already we have discussed about the library and functions. Now see what happened here. Now you can change this class name. So generally, if whenever you run this code, you will get this result. Okay, finally return 0, that is very important. It indicates that your function is, main function is closed, then after there is no any instruction. So now we have we are able to see the display on the screen, means we are getting the display on the screen because we have used cout function. Generally in C it is called printf function, in Python it is print function, in Java it is called system.out.println function to get the display on the screen. So see now what happens, simply a little bit of practice we will do here. As I told you that first of all you need to include two libraries. One is that IOStream, which is very important to work with input and output functions. Okay, here in output function, cout function. So string library, why it is included, we have created a string variable. That variable name is my string. That's why whenever if you want to work with string variables, we need to include that library. So now class name, you change class name, anything, okay, as per your wish. Class keyword is compulsory. Now write any class name. Okay, first of all any class name, XYZ, your name, my name. If I want to write Vasu, there is no any problem. Vasu is a class I have created. Okay, now so next is what? Public, then colon. That is very important. This is indicating that it is the access modifier. I told you that access mode, once class is created, then we need to declare the access level of that class, whether that class contents, class elements, class members, whether they can be accessed outside of the class. So if you want to give permission access permission to access them outside of the class, that moment this public access modifier must be declared, and then colon. So next, inside of that, you create your variables, whatever you want to create: integer variable and a string variable, char variable, boolean variable, float variable. Any, they are data types. Okay. Here, any name, that is up to you. Whatever the name you want to keep for this variable. It is an int variable, but any value not assigned. Simply, if you write num, there is no any problem, because already we have declared the data type, integer data type. And string, if you want to simply write as string is a data type, so use string capital. Otherwise, if you xyz, there is no any problem. It is up to you. Xyz, x is a variable, but we can simply understand that it is a string type, because data type already declared at the starting. So now int is a data type, okay, and num is a variable which holds integer data. X is a variable, it is string type of variable, so it stores string data type. So no any values have been assigned, just I have changed the values. Now your class is that must be terminated with the semicolon at the end of the flower brace. Okay, now these are what forward slashes, these are the comments. To means comments mostly used to give somewhat idea, whomever beginners they want to understand the programming language. So comments will be given. That comments will not be that they will not be read by your compiler, otherwise interpreter, translator programs. Just they will skip them. Okay, that is for our understanding only. Means class created, the class, okay, simply to forward slash the class, public access level, and int num, it is an attribute. Which attribute? It is a attribute int. Next, string x attribute string variable. Int num is a attribute int variable. So like that comments. Okay, so then after, inside of main function, now one I told you that class, first class name. See, I have changed the class name was Vasu, so I need to change the class name here Vasu as Vasu. If you as it is, you have created class name Vasu, I have created. Then after, object name, it is up to you, your wish, whatever the name you want to keep. Generally they have given my object. If you want to keep only simply object, there is no any problem. XYZ, your name, my name, any name. So now what happened? First of all, syntax in C++ and C sharp. First of all, we need to mention the class name first, then object name. But in Python, I told you that first object name will be mentioned. Okay. So now what happened? Try see. Comment is what? Create an object. Create object of for what? Object of my class. So create an object of my class. So my class, there is no name my class. I have changed the class name. Create an object of class Vasu. Okay, Vasu class. Okay, Vasu is a class. Now come down here. Attribute string variable, attribute int variable. Okay, now come inside of the main function. First of all, class mentioned, then object name mentioned, so object created. Now if you want to access the attributes, so we need to set the value. What are the attributes? Here two attributes are declared inside of the class Vasu: integer and string. Two attributes declared. So if you want to access these attributes, dot operator will be used with object name. So what is our object name? Obj. So because no, I am explaining how to write the code. Okay, and we will remove the total code and we will try from scratch, zero. Obj dot mynum. Okay, mynum is not a variable. Num, I have changed the name as num, so you change this as what? Num. Okay, num. Now dot operator will be used. Now 15 is assigned because it is integer type of attribute, so you need to mention only integer values. So then what, my object name I have changed. First object name, if you want to access attributes of any, obj dot my string name also I have changed as what, x. String name already I have changed string name as x. Okay, don't worry. Now string, it is a string. Okay, that's why string data to be mentioned always in C++. String to be kept in double quotation marks. Some text, whatever text you want to write, English like text, that is to be kept in double quotation marks, and every line of statement must be terminated with semicolon. Now if you want to get the print to get the print, the quotation, that is what, forward slash comment. Cout is the main function to see the display on the screen. If you want to get output on the screen, cout. In Python it is called print function, in C it is called printf function. So cout. Okay, as I told you that cout is the part of your iostream library. So iostream library already starting included, so that's why we can function with input and output functions. Here output function cout. So if you want to take input from the user, cin function will be used. So syntax is what, cout. This is what, to insertion operator. Okay, and then my object is what, object I have changed the name of that object name, simply obj dot mynum. There is no any variable name I have changed. Okay, num. Okay, then backslash n means to get the next line character. So okay, it is called next line character to get next line. Otherwise, okay, next cout. One more is that string. Okay, to get display obj dot string name I have changed, string variable changed as x dot x. Okay, now see, then after finally return 0. So return 0 is the last statement. It indicates that main function is closed. Okay, then whenever you keep the end flower place, means your main function is closed. Now you run this code, same, you will get the same result. There is no any error. If any error is there, then no, there is no any error. Same, some text, this text, if you want to change this text. Okay, India is great, India is so great, so great. This text, it is a string type of data, and that is to be kept in double quotation marks. India is so great. And whenever you run, here I told you that execution and compilation, two terms, many times I told you that compile, whenever you click on this button, what happens, first compilation will be done, means compiler checks for any errors are there, any bugs are there. Compiler checks all the lines, how many statements you have written, all the lines at a single glance, and then it intimates that in this line error is there, bug is there. Then after, if you